We spoke about reading. We spoke about various texts, books. There are a lot of old writers that people still read till date, right? There are a lot of old pieces of writing that have been timeless. Do you think we are in a time where a poem or a story could be timeless, or should be timeless, or could be timeless? What do you think on this?
I personally feel that we are in an age where content is being manufactured at a rate.
Manufactured. That's a nice
Yeah,
word. Yeah.
exactly. It
Yeah.
has been. It is being manufactured at a rate where every single day I feel hours of content is churned out.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I mean, it is still fairly possible that a piece can be timeless. A piece can be something that probably somebody teaches in literature books years from now, if books do exist. But I also feel that for me personally, I'm not looking at being remembered in a way that, okay, my piece would be published in a book years from now. I'd rather be able to connect with my audience right now, because this is what I have right now. That's why I feel like most of the work, because, you know, for a piece to be timeless, at the end of the day, it has to be like one of those, critically acclaimed sort of pieces where people feel like this is evergreen. And that itself makes the art elite in a way, because then you're already putting so much of this thing value to it, in the way that it will become less and less accessible for people. There is so much
Okay.
like work. Say, for example, Picasso's work is considered timeless,
Yeah.
or Shakespeare's work is considered timeless. But if I have to sit and read Shakespeare right now, how much will I be able to connect with it?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that means that you shouldn't read it. Yeah, karna hi nahi chahiye, dekhna hi nahi chahiye. Definitely learn
So you
from
can't
it.
relate in art in today's society. What you're trying to
Exactly.
say. Okay.
And not just about the relatability, it's also about the fact that now it's high art. It's become this elite art which is only accessible in specific places. Picasso's work is only in museums
Yeah,
and
it's not.
all of that, right? So if when we talk about art, we want it to be accessible to everyone. So it should be accessible right now. It shouldn't be something that I'm looking at and saying that it should be like timeless years from now. So for me, it's more about being able to reach
Your
people.
timeless is right now.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
You want to
Being
be-
able to reach people right
Yeah.
now. So that's what it is for me.
That's a very nice way to look at it. It's a very nice perspective, because I looked at them very 1D, where I was like, there are writers, they have stood the test of time, their work has stood test of time. We still read their work right now, and future generations are going to. And like, again, manufacturing so much content right now, I was just thinking of it, that will we make it there ever? Will we be one of those generations?
Exactly. You would never know what's going to stand the test of time, because you never know, like आज जो शायद तुम्हें relate नहीं कर रहा है, 10 साल बाद 20 साल बाद किसी को कर जाए.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
मतलब लोग आज भी 5 साल पुराने piece को लेकर they discuss things, and so that's why I don't think there's any kind of barrier that you could place on your art just for it to be timeless. So
You never know.
Exactly.
It may at some point someday like hit someone. That's a very nice way to look at it. Now this is a very important question that I think a lot of us face or year when we are sitting with a lot of writers is writer's block, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to be like, do you have, everyone has writer's block. At some point you feel like you have writer's block at least. What do you do when you're not able to write? How do you seek inspiration or get yourself to even think of ideas?
read.
Just
A
read.
lot. Just read as much as you can. I wouldn't suggest watching, because I feel like watching is it's a never ending loop, because you'll keep watching something or the other. But with reading, the more you learn and the more words that get added to your vocabulary, you don't know, but then you will start using them when you start writing. And for me, reading has always helped me overcome that. Also, just being able to be present. Because a lot of times, even as we sit and if we keep stressing ourselves with the idea of like, अरे नहीं लिख पा रही हो, अरे हो नहीं रहा है, हो नहीं रहा है, तो then नहीं होगा. Because then you know you're already stressing, so you're not even in the moment enjoying what you're going through or what you're doing. So I would say that read and just do other stuff. Do stuff that makes you happy, that keeps you engaged. Don't think about like, okay, of course, sit every day, try to like write something, but then don't put yourself
Pressure.
under so much pressure that tum चाह कर भी ना लिख पाओ, because I've had those situations where I've read something so beautiful that it's given me this strong urge to write, and I haven't written in months. So then when I have like, if I've written something after so long just by reading a piece, then I need to allow myself to be in a space where I'm not pressurized. Then you also need to be okay with like not judging what you're writing.
Yeah.
Because usually writer's block gets worse when you write
Such,
something and you're just like, अरे कितना
Yeah.
खराब है तो मैं कैसे मतलब पक्का writer's block है अब तो. I don't think that's how it should work. I think you should be able to not like judge yourself and not put so much pressure on yourself. Even only then that you can actually come up with something, even if it's not the best of what you can offer, but it's at least something.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Somewhere. It's
Yeah.
going somewhere. What are some of the subjects you wish you I mean, you're trying to attempt to write about right now? You know, there's some things that I really just try to, and I don't think I'm going to get it. I don't think, like, I'm never, for the longest time, you were mentioning about love. I haven't written about love for the longest time. The only 2 times I wrote about love, one was about my parents and one was about, so I used to work in an NGO and I used to teach kids there. So, and I was a teacher for 2 years in the classroom. So for those kids, I wrote a love poem. But this was also 2 pieces which came in very, very late. But for a long time, because I saw so many people attempt to write about it, I was like, maybe my perspective won't really bring in. That was just me doing all this. But do you have something that you really wish you really want to attempt writing about?
So for now, I think I want to write about issues or themes that are that, of course, like everything that I write about has to be personal, but at the same time go beyond me as a person, as an individual. So like even when I'm doing stories, so recently I did this story which is right now out on YouTube. It's called Ye Kahan Likha Hai, and it's a story about how like it explores the theme of gender discrimination in sports, which starts at a very early age for most of the girls, and I experienced that myself, and it was something that even though it started with me, and it was something that I did to figure out to get get past the discrimination that we were facing very subtly but very evidently in our
everyday life.
in our school, with like boys being offered to play cricket and football and girls not being given the same opportunities. But it also went beyond me. I felt like there was a larger meaning to it for me, where so many of the girls face this. So for me to explore themes that go beyond me is something that I'm looking at right now. And I'm sure, like, actually, when you think about it, everything that actually reaches more people is beyond you. It does go beyond you, may start from you. But yeah, it's something that, like, there are these issues that I want to talk about, but I have been talking about certain themes more often than not. So I have not explored a lot of ideas, which also includes a lot of social themes,
Right.
which is something that I'm attempting to do now. But I wouldn't say that it's social. It's also personal, because of course,
You
it
have
starts.
something
Yeah,
to-
you
yeah.
have. I mean, I can't.
It started with you.
It starts with me,
Yeah.
exactly. So there are a lot of such issues and things, and so Olivia Gatewood does this thing where she writes odes to things.
Yeah,
so I'm
only
really
writes.
inspired by that, and I attended one of her workshops while she was in India, and she spoke about how you should write odes to things that are that you hate or love about yourself, and she's done that, where she's written so many odes to things that made her uncomfortable, that
Yeah.
made her. So that really, I think that really fascinates me, and that's something that I want to do at some point, where I do write odes to things that I'm insecure about as a woman or as an individual as well. So, yeah.
I think it's a very nice exercise in a way, because it really gives you perspective about yourself, and it gives you a chance to explore anything from uncomfortable to comfortable to great parts about you.
Exactly.
And yeah,
And it's a fun
also Olivia is
fun
brilliant
exercise
at
that
what
we
she
did
does.
was writing 5 things that we don't like about ourselves, and 5 things that we love about ourselves, and not like just when it comes to your body. And it was so difficult to write 5 things that I loved about myself, and I think a lot of us faced it. And like, I remember going through that exercise and realizing that we go through so many insecurities personally that we don't address. And I think being able to address that through poetry or storytelling is I think it's the way to do it for me at
Yeah,
least. That's what I
that's
feel.
therapeutic.
So,
Yeah, I think for
exactly.
all of us who express through writing, feel that's the only way. That's a great way to have, because I think that's how it began. Our kind of therapy began when we started writing, when we started expressing everything, and more often than so, we really express shit times in our lives through writing, because that's how we coped up with that.
Right.
And I feel like this is a great way. But I will also try doing this, and I will see
Yes.
where I land up with this, doing this. So we were talking about the multiple pieces that you've written, some you've forgotten, and you retrieve back. Um, I'm sure you don't make a video out of all the pieces, right? But what factor makes you feel like this is the final version, or this is something I want to? इसका मेरे को video बनाना है. What makes you think of that decision?
So of course, like when you start writing, it's not like you start writing with the purpose of कि हाँ इसका मेरे को
Record
video
करना है,
बनाना
हाँ.
है. लेकिन definitely feedback from your peers or the people that you actually go to for feedback, that definitely helps in deciding whether this is something that you want to perform on a larger platform or at an event. So I think majority of the times that's what it is. But also now that I'm doing this full time and it's like a profession for me, so of course when I'm writing, I also keep in mind that okay, I want to be consistent with my work, because there are so many people that on a regular level, like on a more consistent level, I get messages from people asking the when's the next video coming out and all of
Wow.
that. So that's why like I have to be as consistent as I can. So I definitely try to do that, but the final call is mine, where I feel like okay, this is good enough to be performed at a platform or to be recorded. Then only I'll go ahead and do it.
That makes
Otherwise, there
sense.
have been times when I've recorded something and I've not been satisfied, and I've said that like,
नहीं, ये
no,
नहीं
I don't
निकालो,
want. I don't
yeah.
want this to go.
I'm
up.
sure
So,
that
yeah.
that a lot of people see very few videos out in terms of how much actually is been shot and how much actually comes out. And also from this, you talk about feedback, right? So I'm sure you get all kinds of messages for your work. There are from seeking inspiration to, I'm sure you have some kind of negative feedback coming in, right? How do you deal with criticism or feedback of that kind?
So, for now, the ratio of good responses
More.
to bad has been favorable. It's
Oh,
been
that's
good
really
only.
nice.
So
That's really nice.
that's I don't know. I'm lucky, but at the same time, there have been times when okay. So I'll tell you about this one story which I did was Pyar Wo Nahi, which explored the theme of relationships, and more so relationships that are abusive.
Okay.
And I got messages from quite a few people saying that they watched the video and they broke up with their partners after it.
Wow.
And
That's great, but
I know. So in a way, I was happy that it's good. Like if you were in a toxic relationship, if you were with somebody that you were not happy with, you took the decision and you got out of it. So great for you. But on the flip side, I've gotten messages from their partners as well, where they've just been like, "You are the reason why I lost my lover,"
Oh
and
my
all of
God.
that. Like
This is-
and they've just been like, you don't know what love is and all of that. And I mean, of course, I've not retaliated or responded to that, but I just honestly feel that, see, if the person was moved to make a decision like this from a video like this, then maybe you should sort of look into what has been happening so far with you or your partner. But it's fine. I understand where the frustration's coming from.
But this is really
But-
funny because you are the reason people are broken up.
I know.
Like two people in a way, it's very nice because I'm completely for fighting or standing up against abusive relationships. I've written about it. I've spoken about it multiple times. But it's not gone so much that people are broken up, being like, हाँ ये सही बोल रहा है, मेरे को break up करना चाहिए. But I can't believe people have actually broken up listening, and they're like, and
Yeah.
imagine one day they're like, oh, I'm breaking up. Why? Because I saw this video. This is
yeah,
you.
I think that's
This
how
is-
it must have happened. It's just I can't even think about it. Like I don't wanna. I mean, I just more power to the people who have been
So it's
through
so
it and
nice.
been
You are
made-
texting two people. One person's like, thank you, I broke up, I feel better. One person like, you bro made me
Yeah.
break up. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not taking responsible.
So,
But you don't
yeah.
reply to them. Do you entertain any kind of if someone is against talking about something against what you believe in or something, right? And it goes still there. Do you actually make the effort, even though it's negative or it's not your space to explain to them why you
Yeah.
wrote something or what you did? Do you still indulge in having a conversation, trying to explain कि ये मेरा point था?
Yeah. So to give you a very recent example, the story like I mentioned, I did the "Ye Kahan Likha Hai" story, and I had shared something on my social media about it, and somebody commented on it saying that it's because the girls never actually asked to play this. That's why there is this stereotype. Like the girls didn't want to play football and cricket. But and so at that point in time, I did respond. I was like, it's not that they never asked. It's something that they were never given the opportunity to do. And so many times from our families, from our our teachers, we face this kind of pressure that we're supposed to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And that is why we've not actually even attempted to. And even sometimes the men have also not been supportive in the sense that
It's assumed that you're a girl, you will not play a
exactly,
certain
and
sport.
I've had, even when we my friends and I, we used to play football in school, I've had guys make fun of us for the way that we've played. So of course it's not something that's encouraged, so it's not going to be easy for them to actually
Think of taking it up.
Yeah, and actually fighting against everybody and playing even if they're not playing good. So that's something that I did respond to, because I felt like I need to tell this person that it's a stereotype that we have given into. It's not something that existed because they didn't want to do it, because then it's not a stereotype. It's just something that it's a norm, and the norms are coming from a place where they've not been given the opportunity. So
It's from the space, it's not equally treated.
Exactly.
They're not looked at a guy can also play cricket as much as a girl should play and can play.
Also the other way around. Like, I don't know. I've not, like, a guy can also play Kho. Like, why has it just been...
I love that game.
Exactly.
I think
so it's just, it was the way it was set up
designed.
in our school was
It is very much like
categorized
a ye ladko ka game hai, ladkiyon ka game hai.
Exactly,
And
right?
you
So-
can't play each other's. And
So that's something that somebody brought up, and I didn't mind telling them, because I felt like they came from a space where they were confused about it. So I was okay with, sort of giving in my point of view. But of course, there are some people who just comment with the intention of not even giving you constructive criticism, but just saying things that
doesn't
maybe-
make sense.
Yeah,
Or-
maybe they are sometimes demeaning, but at the same time, I feel like maybe they are going through something, which is why their response to this is so negative. So
That's
try
very
to,
high amount of EQ you have, because you're almost like kind of entertaining them subtly by saying that maybe they're going through something, so it's okay. You'll not respond, you
Exactly.
won't do anything.
Yeah.
You're letting them be. You're
Right.
not doing anything. But that's good. But like you said, you have more favor in your
Yeah.
side, right? So, like, what do you do when you feel overwhelmed with so many responses after a story or after an incident, or let's say like the abusive relationship, the story on that, right? A lot of people must have texted you, one because of their own reality or someone else's in terms of that.
Yeah.
And how did you deal with just so much information coming your way?
after a while, you just have to keep your phone aside. Very
Did
honestly,
people actually
not
share
just-
stories with you
Yeah, a lot of people did, and
without you asking them to? Which is
kind
okay,
of
which is
matlab-
fine. I'm just
yeah,
asking. Like,
no, I
did
do
they-
understand. It gets a
but did
little
they-
too much sometimes.
Did they feel, looking at the story, did they feel like they could talk to you, and they were obviously someone you don't know that well, but they
Exactly.
still decided to share something that level of personal information, which I think is great. It's commendable, but I'm sure it's happened to you, right? People
Yeah, some people did, not everyone, but of course there are a lot of other pieces as well where people come and tell you that they've been through something very similar. Like, I have this other piece which talks about which is called Tum Kaun Ho, and it's about like this peer pressure which makes like somewhere you lose your identity amongst trying to be somebody you're not and trying to fit in. And a lot of people, like at least everybody that's in college or in school, or sometimes even while working, they go through something like this, and they have reached out. But it is definitely overwhelming, but at some point you have to sort of maintain some sort of distance. So I have tried to acknowledge as many people as I can, but not every time do I do it, because it's also because I mean, sometimes you also have to be in the headspace to be able to sort of take in everything that comes your way. But I'm definitely very, very grateful when it comes to the positive response. And I've tried to, as much as I can, like I try to respond to people. I try to talk to them, because they are the reason why like I'm able to do what I do. So I definitely want to show them the love that they have shown me. So that I've been trying to do. But yeah, it does get overwhelming.
So you just keep your phone aside. That's all.
Yeah, that's the only way you can deal with it at sometimes, because when a story is out at that point in time, it's just too much at once.
Oh man,
Then
yeah.
it's slowly it sort of
simmers
it's like-
down. Yeah.
But still, like it's actually very, very. I don't know. It's a very good feeling to sort of have so many people reach out to you, because firstly, they're feeling comfortable to do that. So you also have to sort of respect that they are comfortable enough to actually text you. How many of us do that? After watching a video, do we go and directly text to the
yeah.
person? We don't. So I think I kind of try to be as grateful as I can be and reciprocate. So yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Now, moving on to this segment, which is called Game, because I couldn't be more creative in this aspect. Okay. So, a few questions which are going to be an either or. So, you choose and tell us why. And then there are a few other questions that you'll get to know while you go on. Cool. So, what matters when you're writing? Quality or quantity? And I know the answer, but just, and why?
Quality.
Yeah.
Of
No
course.
one's ever said quantity. I know why, but I'm just saying. It's 7 episodes. Okay.
Quantity will matter if you're like, if that's all you're looking at. I mean, I feel like with the kind of work that we are doing with poetry and storytelling, quality comes first. But then there are people who are YouTubers. So they also have to focus on quantity, because then they have to put out content on the specific days of the week, of the month. So I understand if sometimes, that comes first, where people do put quantity first. But definitely, as an
Quality,
artist,
yeah.
as somebody who goes up on stage and is putting out material in front of live audiences, you want to focus on quality first. You want them to remember you for the work that you've done. You don't want them to you just don't want to be another video.
You don't want
in
to
the
be
feed,
someone who has 10 videos. You rather have one video which is
Exactly,
more.
yeah.
Yeah, that's then. What do you like reading more, poetry or prose, and why?
Lately I've been enjoying poetry a lot more, because it fascinates me so much, the different ways in which people express, and like I just love the metaphors and the way people weave poetry. So lately that's been something that I'm very interested in, but definitely everything else is also equally, like, once you're a reader you can't choose.
Yeah, you.
So
Okay. Performance or writing, and why? I love this question so much, because the first question is very like, yeah, it's obvious. Second is again subjective. Third is
It's
all these
tough.
questions. Always people are like, what do I do?
I okay. I think writing,
Okay,
because
okay.
as much as I enjoy performing, I hate rehearsing. I hate it, and I mean, I don't use the word hate as
very
often, but
yeah.
it's for me, writing comes with so much passion. I'm excited when I've written something new, and when I have to perform it, I've done it umpteen times,
Yeah.
like before actually going up on stage and doing it. So it's like I have to do it with the same emotion and energy every single time.
Oh man.
So it's definitely a tougher this thing to crack. But so yeah, for me, writing is more enjoyable. But performance, of course, like once you're off the stage and people are coming and talking to you, and that validation is a whole other thing. But writing has to be
Yeah.
personally what I enjoy more, and where I don't seek any external validation is writing.
Yeah. And performance also, that validation also obviously comes on the day where you have gone with that whole 100% thing, where you're like, yeah, today I'm going to kill. And I'm sure even you have, like, there are days I have where I know that today I'm going to have a good day on stage. It's just a good
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
that today I'm going to have a good day.
This giddy
And
feeling that
yeah,
you
that I'm
have.
like, haan, aaj maza aayega. And there are days where I'm like, oh, today's going to be so bad. I can't even begin to start this. Yeah, so that's really nice. Writing, cool. Again, mixed answers I've got throughout, and it's very interesting. Editing a piece yourself or constructive criticism from a fellow artist?
Editing a piece yourself.
Okay.
I welcome criticism and I love it, but at the same time, I want to be the person who takes the final call if I'm making an edit or not. I am very lucky to have a few people who give me the best feedback, but at the same time, I do enjoy the personal edit session that I go through before I even send it to people, because I know that I can be objective towards this piece and be able to accept others' criticism as well, because I'm able to edit it myself. So to reach that level with my work and then be able to send
So
it to other
first step
people.
would be editing
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
and second would be somewhere a part of it
Yeah.
would be fellow artists,
Welcoming
anyone.
criticism.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you listen to a poem, story, some other performers on stage, is it more emotional? Is it more technical? कि अच्छा इसने ऐसा metaphor use किया, or is it more like, wow, I felt this emotion? What is
Emotional.
it more? It's
Emotional.
completely, yeah. Okay. What are you exploring to write next? What topic, subject, emotion are you exploring to write next?
I'm not going to give spoilers.
No, oh, that's nice. That's interesting. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Wow. This trick question was asked to everyone. Everyone answered except you. That's a good one. Keep following her. You'll find out what she's going to be writing next. Give us a few rituals. Do you have any rituals before you go up on stage?
Yeah, I mean, the basics, obviously, you want to calm your nerves. So I like to sort of be by myself for a bit. But more so, when I'm on stage, I want to feel comfortable before I start, because whenever I've sort of rushed into starting, I have messed it up.
Yeah, it's
And like, I mean, no matter how many times you do it, you are still bound to mess up if you
you
feel,
can.
yeah, if you don't feel completely all right being there in the energy. So yeah, that's one of those things where you just take some time before you actually start, even when you're on stage, because I think people are, people are supportive, and they're not going to mind if you take like 2 seconds before you start. So that's one thing. And then other things probably involve me rapidly rehearsing in my head, which so many people have advised me against. And they always tell me, Are, you have to relax before you go on stage. Don't rush yourself
Yeah.
with so many thoughts. But it's only when I am still rehearsing that I will not think of anything else and be in the moment.
Okay.
Like, that's the only way I feel that I can be very present. So I do that. I don't know if it works for other people, but yeah, I think those are one or
That's
two things that I do.
that's really nice. But yours is very nice. It's on stage stuff more
Yeah.
than backstage. What are 3 bits of advice you'd like to give someone who's going to be trying their first open mic?
First open mic.
Yeah.
Go with an open mind. First of all, be
An
very
open mic.
be very all right with the fact that this may not be the best performance, or may not even be as good as what you thought you'll be able to do. You may not get as many reactions or positive feedbacks after the performance. So be okay with that, because you're just starting out. So the whole idea is to actually go up and perform. It's not about making it at one go, because it's not going to happen at one go. And so that would be one thing, that just be very open to the experience. Second, just enjoy being on stage. Just know and understand if you like the vibe or not, because for a lot of people, they love writing, but then performance
Not,
doesn't
yeah.
excite them as much. So if it's something that doesn't excite you, then maybe you need to think about it. And so that's why you need to firstly enjoy the vibe once you're on stage. And third thing would probably be, just be well prepared. Don't don't be overconfident. And that's something that I keep telling myself even now, because even after being on stage so many times, I'm bound to have bad days. I'm bound to have those days where I fumble, and I'm bound to have those events where I feel like this is the biggest event of my life and I will still end up fumbling. So that's why I'm just be more accepting of the fact that you can make mistakes. So, and just if you want to avoid them, just be well prepared. So few
That
things.
makes a lot of sense. So anyone who's going to go to their first open mic, please note. When you meet people at events and people text you in, do they have any kind of misconception about you that generally comes up like in a pattern? Like a lot of people feel that about you through your work. Is that a thing?
Uh, I don't think so. I mean, for me, I think misconception could come from the fact that, so I'm a little reserved as a person.
Okay.
So for me to be friendly with people, I need them also to be equally
Equally,
friendly.
yeah.
And sometimes that might come across as intimidating to people, or just in the sense that, okay, she's not approachable. But that's not the case. It's just that I myself need to like feel comfortable and feel welcomed to be able to open up. But other than that, I don't think people have had any misconceptions.
Conception.
And for example, I feel like every time I've been to a poetry or storytelling event, the audience is so warm. They're just
Yeah.
such nice people. They always come up to you. That so I genuinely like waiting back after events and just meeting people. So it's a nice experience.
The last bit, 3 bits of advice you'd like to give yourself as in your past self as a writer. If you could go back in time to whenever you started writing, a year back, more than that,
Yeah.
what would you give?
I mean, for me, I started writing like when I was in middle school, when I was in 6th grade. I think one piece of advice I would give would be, get over those love story novels and all of that. Just read more, read different things.
Yeah.
Because I think I feel so worried sometimes that there's so many books and so much knowledge out there that I am yet to
Learn a
find and
lot.
learn.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I try like sometimes just catching up and read too much at once. But I think it's a habit that we should inculcate as soon as we can. And not just because you're a writer, even apart from that, there's just so much in the world to learn. So I think that would be the first thing, to read more, to read a more variety of things. Another thing would be, just don't don't shy away from an opportunity, because I feel like a lot of times, at least lately, I've been realizing it's all about taking the initiative. You might want to do something with all your heart, but if you don't take the initiative, it's not always is an opportunity going to come to you. You have to put yourself out there. So just stepping out of the comfort zone would be the second.
That's
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. So, in terms of when you write, what are major things that have impacted your writing from your life, like elements? It could be people, it could be moments. What are these factors that determine your writing when it comes to writing about your life or seeking inspiration from your own life? What are the major things that impact your writing?
Okay. One would be my inability to actually express myself as a person. I feel like a lot of times, a lot of things that I have to say, it's easier for me to put it in a story than actually be able to say it to people. And I have done that, and it's not something that I want to hide or anything, but I think that definitely, as when I started writing, it was one of the major factors that really determined my work, because I used to write about things and people that I couldn't say to them outright. So I think that really impacted my work. And I think it continues to, because not every time will you even have the chance to say it to them the way you can actually pen it down and put it out there. So that's one thing. And another thing would probably be how much an experience affects you. Because, like we always say, it's so easy to write about pain because, it's the strongest emotion you experience. But at the same time, to be able to write about joy, to be able to write about different experiences. So I think the intensity of an experience really affects how much of it you can put down on paper.
It's amazing. And you were mentioning about college festivals, right? And performing at multiple spaces. So when you do perform outside, in an event, which is not probably an open mic or a space where you've known people, you're outside in a space. How do you decide your set list? How do you go about the nuances of your performances and what are you going to bring out and how are you going to bring out?
It has a lot to do with, firstly, the kind of audience, like the demographic of the audience that I'm performing for. A lot of times in events in Mumbai, I find a wider
Mix.
demographic, and exactly, a mix of
Yeah.
the audience. But with festivals, college festivals and all, it's more specific, like it's youngsters. So that definitely affects the kind of pieces that you're doing. Also, if it's a festival, like a music festival or a festival that's like being organized on a larger level, not a college festival, then in that particular scenario, people have come to have a good time and they want lighter stories that make them feel good. So that really determines the sort of stories that you pick out to perform. And in, say, a closed space where I'm performing for a selective number of people who have specifically come for a storytelling event or a poetry event, I'd be open to doing intense pieces, because I think they've come with this thing to just watch people who are who are here to show their art. So I think they're more open to feeling more, I guess, rather than just there for a bigger experience or just having fun. So I think they would appreciate intense pieces as well.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely determines the set list that I pick out for the different events.
Okay, that's wonderful. I really do want to come once and see your show outside because I really don't think. I think except Habitat, I don't think I should get out and I should
Yeah.
see more events. I really feel like there are a lot of events that happen
Yeah,
in
I
the
feel
city.
like you should go out for like these festivals and all, definitely, because I feel like so many artists do so much more than just storytelling or poetry once they're on stage catering to such a large audience. It's fun to see them, just
Especially
with
since you've either been in college or you all have been to some experience of college, right? So it's so easy to relate in terms of, oh, you are going through this, which I probably went through years back at some
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
And some factors or some behavior or some kind of things that college life has, it's very common
Exactly.
for everybody.
Like talking about love and
Yeah,
friendships and
yeah.
all of that. It's nice. It definitely connects with the
All of
crowd
it.
to a larger level. So
And I think it's so nice to relate because I think from Habitat we had this event at UPG.
right.
And I think that was the time we collaborated with them and we were part of their fest. And we had like a poetry, comedy, and music event. And I think I saw a lot of people, like the way we could relate to them, the way they could relate to us in terms of not just the art, but just different sensibilities of life.
Exactly.
Though we all came from different places, we could still sit in a room and agree on things, on a few things, and be like, yeah, this is what college life is about, or that is what it is
Yeah.
about. And I think it's great too. I think it's really nice when you reach out. And also, I think mixed crowd would be great for you to perform, right?
Yeah,
It's just you get
definitely.
different kinds of reactions to it. So final bit is about open mics. Do you still attend open mics at places?
Yeah, I mean,
Some-
it's not as often, but I do.
And how do you think an open mic helps a performer? What really it bring out into a performer from when a person takes in either raw piece or talking about you take more of a like a edited piece which you think you're more confident about. But how do you think that helps a performer?
Firstly, confidence level. Like just being on stage as much as you can will affect your confidence level and it will improve it. So that's one. And the other is, if you're lucky enough, you'll find a few people who will give you an honest feedback. So that's also one good thing. And you get to meet like-minded people. So
Yeah.
definitely, like going to open mics definitely helps in that sense, where you can meet more artists and see what they have to offer. And I feel like if you want to be heard, you should be willing to listen as well. So that's something that I think open mic is a good place to start, where you can hear new artists and learn from them as well. So
Perfect. And I think that really makes sense. And you need to be out. I think you need to be out there to be expressed and to be heard. Like we all want to be heard. And I think that's really important. But yeah, that ends our segment over here, over this conversation. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank
I
you
think
so
I
much.
have
It's a
learned
pleasure.
a lot and I've got some good perspective. I hope you keep narrating these beautiful stories to us, keep teaching us things, keep giving us reasons to look at something from a very different light. And I hope you keep doing what you're doing. It matters. So thank you so much.
thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. I had a lot of fun.
Yes. Thanks.
Hi guys, so we are here at Scratchpad Sessions with Why So Hush.
Yes.
And if you enjoyed these videos, then please like and share and subscribe to this channel. Press the bell icon and keep watching.
Yeah, and also Helly's going to be releasing a lot of poems, stories, and a lot of more stuff. And obviously, we didn't know that. But you will know it if you obviously subscribe, share, and also do the same. So thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. Hello, hi. I just sat with Helly Shah and no, we're not related, but we had a great conversation and I had 3 major learnings. One, when any of you will go to open mics, make sure you're very open-minded towards it because everything's going to come your way, and make sure that to absorb as much as you can. Second, to get over stage fright as a performer, you just got to be more on stage. And third, whenever you're on stage, try to be vulnerable, because every time you're being vulnerable, you can relate to people. People can relate to you because these emotions are really raw, and it really will help you learn and understand your craft and your art better.